He lives in Detroit, him and his wife. I gotta call him. I can't tell nothing else. So if Bob can help me out, can I get the court's permission to go stay in Detroit with he's a counselor, he's a therapist, he's a professional. That will be really the only option. Well, I do have another option, but I'm talking about Bob here first.
Welcome back to Time Served, the channel that scans the docket so you don't have to. And who says Sunday isn't entertaining for us court nerds? Because this, she even got me confused. This lady right here and this judge right here had a instant classic. Guaranteed you're going to see it everywhere, but you're going to see it first right here on Time Served. She has a cat problem. She has the diabetes. Oh boy, what a main event I have for you on a Sunday afternoon. I promise you, you will love this. And then I threw some extra medical type, hospital type clips in there for you because I love you so much. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe, set your notifications to all, and never forget to feed Goofy the cat. Court is now in session. Let's roll, nerds.
Elijah Lewis, I understand he's in the hospital?
Yes, sir.
He does sign
right here.
Mr. Weiner, do you need a breakout room with him?
You know what? If I can have it for like 10 seconds, sir, I just have to ask him one question, okay? That's possible?
All right, I'll give you a whole minute.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, we're going to set up so you can have your... Okay.
Damn, my face look crazy.
Good morning.
All right. Okay, set up the breakout room, accept the invitation.
Thank you.
Right now?
Yes. I guess we can proceed if you're ready. All right.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, Ms. Ballard. Ms. Ballard, I just want to remain on mute. You can serve and watch, okay?
Okay.
Okay, just put yourself on mute.
All right. I got to see how to do this. Yeah. Okay.
All right, Mr. Weiner, are you ready?
I'm ready to proceed, Judge.
Okay. Calling case number 235789601. People City, Michigan versus Elijah Lewis. Mr. Lewis, identify yourself for the record.
Elijah Lewis.
Okay, Mr. Weiner, this is Magistrate William Burton. Appearance, please.
Judge Arnold Weiner, WEINER, P number 22104, on behalf of Mr. Elijah Lewis. Judge, I would normally waive the reading. I do not know what the actual charges are. I went and saw Mr. Lewis at the jail, at the hospital yesterday, but did not have a chance to find out what the actual charges are. If you could just briefly, thank you.
No, I will read the charges. Mr. Lewis, you are charged with the following counts. Count 1, child abuse in the second degree. Did knowingly or intentionally commit an act likely to cause serious physical or mental harm to a child by shooting into a vehicle where the child was. Count 2, child abuse, second degree. Did knowingly or intentionally commit an act likely to cause serious physical or mental harm to a child by shooting into a car where the child was. Count 3, felonious assault. Did make an assault upon a Charnel Armstrong with a dangerous weapon, to wit, a handgun, without intending to commit the crime of murder or to inflict great bodily harm less than the crime of murder. Count 4, did carry or have in his possession a firearm, to wit, a handgun, at the time he committed or attempted to commit, to wit, child abuse in the second degree. Count 5, did carry or have in his possession a firearm, to wit, a handgun, at the time he committed or attempted to commit a felony, to wit, child abuse second degree. Count 6, felony firearm, did carry or have in his possession a firearm, to wit, a handgun, at the time he committed or attempted to commit, to wit, an assault with a dangerous weapon. Those are the 6 charges filed against Mr. Lewis. Does that satisfy your request, Mr. Weiner?
Yeah, I just want one clarification. Count 4, 5, and 6.
Those are felony firearm counts.
Okay, felony firearm. That's right. I
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Okay, argument as to bond.
Judge, with regard to the issue of bond, there's 2 ways I'd like to approach this. I know Mr. Lewis is 25 years old. You have a history of him. I know he's on probation for CCW. I believe I may have even represented him, but I know the family for a long time. I don't think there's ever a question of him not appearing. What I am going to ask is kind of a bifurcated request, Judge. I would like to have a reasonable bond that he may be able to make and go out, perhaps even a 25 or a 35,000, 10% bond. But if the court, because of these charges, and they are serious, I understand that, it is not inclined to go down to such a low, a bond of that proportion, I would request that you allow him to stay in his house under with a GPS tether, a house arrest, and for the following reasons. Number one, whether you are aware of or not, in this instance, he was shot by other people in that other vehicle. And as a result of being shot, he's in the hospital now. We do not know when he's going to be released, but he was shot in the leg above his ankle, but the more serious wound occurred when he was shot in his cheek. And it went up and out through his nostril. And there are some, as of last night, speaking with the nurses, there are some fragments still in his nostril, and all of his teeth on the left-hand side of his mouth have been knocked out. You can see when you view him, his whole left side of his mouth by his cheek is all swelled up. They are also telling me that he's not going to be able to eat any solid foods for quite a while because of his injuries. And 2, once this pain medication gets off of him from the hospital, he's going to be in some serious pain. So these are the reasons that I am requesting that if we can't make it a bond that he could get out, I would ask this court to impose a house arrest bond with a GPS tether, and the only provision would be for him to go to and from any medical appointments for these injuries. Because I know from my experience, and this court does too, that there's no way that the Wayne County Jail is going to be able to give him the type of medical treatment necessary for these injuries. So that is my request. In addition, he also works full-time in a lawn service company that also does irrigation. And he has 3 children, but one of the children resides with him, 2 years old. He takes care of him full time and lives with his father in Redford. Those are all the facts that I'm aware of in making my request for the court to use its discretion in establishing a fair and equitable bond where he can obtain the treatment necessary. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Weiner. You make so compelling arguments on behalf of your client in light of his injuries. The court knows you represent that he's on probation for CCW. These are very, very serious allegations, assaultive allegations, and that as a result of this incident, your client was shot as well while he ends in the hospital. For the following reasons, the court is going to grant you, in part, what you requested, Mr. Weiner. The court is going to impose a $35,000 personal bond with the following conditions. Give me one moment. Okay. The court is going to impose a $35,000 personal bond with the following conditions. You're not to possess any handguns, weapons of any kind. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
You're not to have any contact with Chanel Armstrong. When no contact, that means verbally, in writing, via email, via social media, or through a third party. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
While this case is pending, I don't want you to do any driving at all.
Yes,
I don't care whether you have a valid driver's license or not. You're not to be driving a motor vehicle.
Yes, Your Honor.
And per your attorney's suggestion and recommendation, which is why I'm not setting a cash bond in this matter, after you, or just before you leave the hospital, or as you're leaving the hospital, you're to be fitted with a GPS tether. You'll be on the house arrest after leaving the hospital. You're free to go to your medical appointments after you're fitted with the tether. But outside of that, I want you under house arrest.
Okay.
All right? You have a probable cause. You have a probable cause conference date of July 24th, 8:30 a.m. in front of Judge King. You have a preliminary examination July 31st, 8:45 in front of Judge King. Mr. Lewis, do you have any questions regarding your bond conditions and or court dates?
No, Your Honor. Is it possible I can talk right now? Can I?
Well, you talk to your attorney.
No. Judge, I want to ask one question.
Sure.
At PCC on July 24th, would you know if that's by Zoom or in person now?
I believe it's by Zoom, but check with Judge King's courtroom to confirm.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anything else, counsel?
No, sir.
Okay, and like I said, any other questions, Mr. Lewis, regarding your bond conditions and the court date? Those things alone.
No, Your Honor.
You know what, Judge? One question. When the hospital says he's able to be released, is he going to be taken down to the sheriff's department to put each other on?
I don't know about that, but I would suggest that he report to the Wayne County Jail or DDC to get fitted with the GPS tether as soon as he's released.
Okay.
Okay.
Or would you allow a private company? Because I have one that works exclusively with the courts all the time to put their GPS tether on him.
I don't have a problem with that so long as it's a compliance with the Wayne County Jail.
Okay. Thank you then.
Okay. Do you want me to put that in the order?
Yes, sir. I appreciate that.
And was a private GPS tether company allowed?
Okay. Thank you.
I understand it costs a little bit more, but I understand. Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, we may be able to get him out quicker then, because once he's released, he may wait in there for another 8-9 days still. Because I know they're
okay. Well, regardless, I want him on a tether.
Absolutely. Thank you, Judge. Appreciate it.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. So I think that's bad. Okay.
To be Mr. Huey. Is it Keith Allen Huey?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Good morning. Mr. Byrd, are you ready? Okay, we'll wait just a moment for Mr. Byrd to join us.
Ready.
All right, very good. This is People versus Keith Allen Huey. Officer Seifert, are you going to be testifying to the probable cause here?
Your Honor, there should be a Tauscher or Detective Robinson joining if they're not already on.
Gotcha. Okay, I'm not seeing them yet, but I'll give them a call now.
Okay, yeah, see, I'm still processing stuff. All right. No, I see that, but I'm still processing. This came this morning.
Hello.
Hello, I'm trying to reach Officer, is it Tauscher?
Okay, so.
Yeah, you got it.
Good morning. All right, we need to do the probable cause in People versus Keith Allen Huey. Are you going to be testifying? All right, can you please state your name and badge number for the record?
Detective Andrew Tauscher, badge number 5424.
Thank you. And are you going to be testifying from personal knowledge or an investigator's report here?
Investigator's report.
Thank you. Please raise your right hand. Swear from the contents of the report are true to the best of your information and belief.
I do.
Thank you. All right, I've got 1 count of assault with intent to murder, 1 count of assault with intent to do great bodily harm less than murder, 1 count of aggravated domestic violence resulting in serious or aggravated injury, 1 count of domestic violence, 3rd offense, elevating, we've got a 3rd offense elevating it to a felony, and then I've got a felonious assault with a knife. All right, go ahead with your testimony here, please.
On 8/3/2023, Kent police officers Eli and Halligan were dispatched to 54115 Trails Court, apartment 104 for domestic. Neighbor called stating they could hear a loud argument coming from the apartment. Officers arrived and interviewed both subjects, Keith Huey and Mary Pridemore. Officer Penn Halligan arrived first and made contact at the apartment near the sliding glass door. He saw the arrestee, Keith Huey, standing in the living room of the apartment and saw blinds were disturbed in the glass door wall. Pounced himself and Huey approached the window. He made several attempts to open it before saw it was completely off the slider track and pushed the door out of the way to make entry. Huey was ordered to sit in the chair next to the door. As Officer Penn Halligan entered the apartment, he saw the victim, Mary Pridemore, laying on the ground next to a wheelchair. Things around the apartment were disturbed in a manner that appeared as though there had been a fight. There was a vase on the ground. Pridemore was seated on the floor next to her wheelchair, and there were pieces of styrofoam scattered around Pridemore. Officer Penn Halligan asked Huey if there had been any weapons. He said, "No, I wish I had some." Asked for consent to pat him down, and he asked, "Do I want to kill myself?" and made no other reply. Based on the assaultive nature of the call and Huey's strange answers to the questions, Officer Penn Halligan instructed him to stand up and conducted a pat down, complied with no notable results. Huey was soaked in sweat. His hair was dripping and his shirt was soaked through. Officer Penn Halligan asked what happened, and Huey said nothing. We were having an argument. He stated no one was in the home but his girlfriend and pointed at Pridemore. As Officer Penn Halligan was speaking to Huey, Pridemore was trying to get herself back into her wheelchair. Officers asked if she was injured. She said she didn't know, then said, "It's just my hand." Officer Penn Halligan saw her hand was covered in blood and had the fire department make the scene. As he approached Pridemore to assist her with the wheelchair, He saw a knife laying on the ground next to her with drops of blood on the blade. Officer Penhaligon asked what happened and what happened with the knife, and Pridemore pointed to Huey. After helping her into the wheelchair, Officer Penhaligon asked Pridemore for her name, and Huey from the other corner said, "I would never assault her, I just wanted my stuff." Pridemore stated that she and Huey had never dated, but had lived together for about 2 weeks. They had lived together previously for about 2 years in Monroe with their respective significant others. Today, or on that date, August 3rd, Huey had been drinking to a level Pridemore was not appreciative. He wanted to get more alcohol, but Pridemore did not want him drinking anymore. Pridemore's son, Derek Eason, drove Pridemore and Huey to Pine Tree Plaza on Joy Road, where they dropped Huey off at a liquor store and then drove home. About 7 p.m., that was the time that they dropped him off. Pridemore told Huey he was not permitted back to the apartment until he was sober. A short time later, Huey returned home and began trying to get inside. Pridemore refused to let him in until he was sober. Huey then began trying to break in. Eventually, he succeeded in knocking the sliding door off its track. He then rushed Pridemore, shoving her out of her wheelchair onto the floor. Huey used a tall chair from a high-top table to strike Pridemore a couple times, possibly 3 or 4, as she lay on the floor. He struck her head and her chest, leaving no marks. Pridemore stated she thought he may have used her wheelchair in the same manner, but was unsure if he struck her or knocked her into it as she was on the ground. After Huey stopped hitting her with the chair, he knelt over top of Pridemore and cocked his fist back as though to strike her, but did not hit her. He then began ripping out Pridemore's hair and threatening her. He said, "I'm going to fucking kill you, bitch. Then I'm going to kill your son." Huey then took both hands and began strangling Pridemore. Pridemore stated Huey strangled her with both hands for approximately 12 to 13 seconds, during which time she could not speak or breathe. She described the pressure as 10 on a scale from 1 to 10. When asked what Huey's demeanor was, she stated he was pissed. He wanted to kill, I tell you. She described Huey's face as pitch red, with his eyes being as open, or as big as he could open them and black as could be. When asked what made him stop, Pridemore said, "I think he thought he was killing me," she stated. "I thought I was going to die. I thought he was going to kill me, especially when things were going black." Pridemore stated her vision started going back, and she believed she may have lost consciousness briefly. Pridemore told Officer Penhaligon once Huey stopped strangling her, she could hear sirens, which made him irate. She began trying to console him, saying they were not for him, and she could tell the police nothing had happened. While she spoke to him, Huey retrieved a paring knife from the kitchen and knelt down on top of Pridemore as she lay on the ground. He held the knife with the blade pointed down from his fist and raised it as though he was going to stab her. Pridemore reached up and grabbed the knife to prevent him from stabbing her, cutting her thumb in the process. She stated once she grabbed for the knife, she did not see it anymore and then heard the police at the door. Once police arrived, Huey stopped trying to attack her. Huey alleged to police that he consumed nearly 100 muscle relaxers and was transported to Beaumont Lane for treatment. Pridemore was treated by Canton Fire Department for the cut on her thumb. She had scratches on her face and several scrapes on her left wrist. Officers took photos of the injuries, including the door, the knife, the blood drops, and the knocked over vase. There were clumps of hair in the area as well. Pridemore completed a witness statement indicating she wanted to press charges.
All right, thank you. We have probable causes to all charges I'm signing now. We're going to move on into the arraignment portion. People versus Keith Allen Huey. Mr. Huey, please identify yourself for the record. State your name.
My name's Keith Allen Huey.
Thank you. People versus Keith Allen Huey. Counsel.
Yes, Your Honor. Brandon Bird, on behalf of Keith Huey, my client, waives his right to the formal reading, was advised his constitutional rights, and will stand mute.
Thank you, counsel. The court notes formal reading has been waived and enters a not guilty plea on Mr. Huey's behalf. I'll hear your argument as to bond.
As to bond, Your Honor, 56-year-old lifelong resident of Michigan, indicates to us that he's disabled, way under the 200% poverty guidelines. Any amount of bond is going to be like a remand to him. Suffers from multiple physical and mental illnesses. I do understand the assaultive nature of these allegations. But my client does look forward to his day in court, and respectfully, we're going to ask this court potentially for a low, reasonable 10% bond seen fit by the court. Ideally, we want a personal bond, but I do understand the assaultive nature of these allegations. So if not a personal bond, then a reasonable or low 10% bond seen fit by the court.
Right. The investigator's report describes a brutal attack of a vulnerable individual restricted to a wheelchair, that resulting in injuries to that individual, supported by evidence of blood on a knife, matching up with the what the complainant says occurred. Clumps of her hair found in the area. She said her hair was pulled out. Anyway, just a very brutal attack. Charge here is AWIM for that reason, in addition to the statements of the intent or desire allegedly to kill complainant and her son. So for all of those reasons, I am going to set bond at $500,000 cash, no surety. I do believe the complainant is in grave danger if Mr. Huey is out. If he's able to get out, he will have to wear a GPS tether. He'll be fitted with that before leaving the jail, that tether requiring full home confinement. There is to be no contact with the complainant, meaning no verbal contact, no written contact, no contact through third parties or social media. Any attempt at contact will be considered a violation of the conditions of the bond. Next court date is going to be a probable cause conference, August the 17th at 9 a.m. After that, preliminary examination is set for August 24th at 9 a.m. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Right. Thank you, Officer Seifert. Thank you very much.
Currently signing the order referring you to the local appointing authority. I just want to confirm you have no email address, correct?
No.
And you've given us a telephone number. Is that a landline or a cell phone?
Cell.
Okay, and do you have text messaging on that cell?
Yes.
Okay. If there's any change to your contact information, you are required to notify the court, and certainly you'll want to make the public defender aware, okay?
Yep.
All right. Mr. Bellinger, you're welcome to proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Assistant Public Defender Jay Bellinger with and on behalf of Ms. Sweeney, who appears via Zoom from the jail. Your Honor, I would ask that the court read the formal charges against her if you don't mind, and we would plead not guilty after you are done.
Sure. Just 1 second while I update the contact information.
No problem.
There we go. All right. So the complaint in this matter, it's a single charge. The complaint alleges that on or about August 5th of 2023, that you were at 389 Devonshire in Ypsilanti Township. It's alleged that you did make an assault or an assault and battery upon David Wallow, W-A-L-L-O, a person with whom you reside or formerly resided, or a person with whom you have or have had a dating relationship. That is commonly known as domestic assault and battery. It carries a maximum penalty, 93 days in jail and or $500. Do you understand that charge?
Yes, I do.
And do you understand that maximum penalty?
Yes, I do.
Very good. We will have you stand mute today. I'll enter a plea of not guilty on your behalf. I'm going to schedule you for your next court date. That is going to be a pretrial with your assigned judge. That will be at 14B District Court with Judge Washington. She will be able to see you on August 21st at 9 a.m. by Zoom or as soon thereafter as your case can be called. We'll get you a notice to appear, and then you'll receive additional information from the public defender's office, okay?
All right.
The last thing we need to address in this matter is bond, and there are two parts to bond. Bond conditions, those are things the court tells you you can and cannot do. If you violate a bond condition, you're subject to immediate arrest. The other side of bond is whether you can be released today on your own or whether you'd have to post a bond in order to be released. Before I make any decisions, I will hear from Mr. Bellinger and I will go through your conditions. You'll get a copy of them when we are done. Counsel?
Thank you, Your Honor. I have been able to speak with Ms. C with regard to what we assume will be the bond conditions on this charge. I do have a couple of concerns. Well, I do have at least one concern, Your Honor. She advises that she had no problem having no contact with the individual who alleged this charge, who alleged what happened against her. My only concern is that she advises that that is her only place that she can stay at this moment. She does have a cat there. I walked her through civil standby and going to get the cat and her ability to do so. However, my concern is a residency in the interim. Now, she did give me an address. I don't know what that address is for, who lives at that address. I just don't know where she's going to stay in the interim. I don't know if she's had time to think about that, but certainly my concern resides in only that issue. And I think that it appears from what she tells me that her last conviction was in the 2000s, early 2000s. So I'm not concerned with her ability to appear. I'm not concerned with her propensity to be a danger to the community. You know, obviously this charge is what it is. It's the allegation, but she hasn't had any criminal history.
Are you on my side?
I'm sorry?
Are you on my side?
I am on your side, Ms. C. I'm arguing for your benefit right now. I'm telling the judge that I don't believe you to be a danger to the community. So just let me finish up here, okay? So, I mean, Your Honor, that is my only concern with regard to where she's going to live, but otherwise, I don't see her as an issue out on bond, and we would ask for a PR.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so let's talk that out. Ms. C, where are you going to stay?
All I can tell you is my best friend, who is also my former therapist in Detroit. He lives in Detroit, him and his wife. I gotta call him. I can't tell nothing else. So if Bob can help me out, can I get the court's permission to go stay in Detroit with he's a counselor, he's a therapist, he's a professional. That will be really the only option. Well, I actually do have another option, but I'm talking about Bob here first.
So whose address is the 14?
It's a non-existent address because the attorney asked for one. The attorney asked for an address.
And whose address?
I made one up. He said, give me an address other than where you have the charge.
So that's nobody's address.
Okay.
Yes, he asked me to give an address other than a charge.
Ms. C, just please.
Ms. C, I'm not trying to fight with you. I'm just trying to figure out where you're going to go. So that address is not a valid address, is what you're telling me.
No, but I can get with my therapist, Bob, in Detroit. He's a professional. He's a counselor.
Okay.
All I got to do is call him. Him and his wife can come down and get me, and they can hook me up maybe with somebody down here. That's my only option. I have one best friend, and he's a professional. He works for a place in Detroit that has mental health services, counseling services, physical and mental health services, and he's the only one that can help me. I've got to talk to him so I can figure out if I'm staying down here or going up to Detroit.
Okay. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to release you on your own. I'm going to set a backup cash bond of $5,000. In the event that you fail to come to court or you violate any of the conditions I'm about to set, that's the minimum bond you would face if you end up back in custody, okay?
I've never had any problem with anything, so I'm not worried about it.
Okay, then the answer is yes, that's fine. Yes, you understand.
Sorry, I didn't answer what to do.
Okay, you seem very agitated, and I'm not trying to fight with you.
Ma'am, I'm diabetic. I haven't slept all night, and I'm sweating, which is a diabetic reaction. I'd like to get out of here. That's why I'm not irritated at you. I'm diabetic.
Okay.
I don't know tell. I'm drenched wet. I'm drenched.
Okay. It's a good thing you're not in the courtroom because it's icy cold in this room, and you'd be covered in icicles if you were sweating and then cold in this room. So
I am cold. What are you gonna do?
Okay. So we will get you taken care of as soon as we can. So this is what I'm doing. I'm releasing you. You don't have to post a bond. If you don't come back to court or if you violate any of your conditions, you're going to have a $5,000 bond as the minimum that you will face. Your conditions are as follows. You're not to violate any criminal law while your case is pending. You're not allowed to leave the state without prior permission of the court. If you change your address, email, or telephone number, you have to notify the court and you have to let the public defender know.
Wait a minute. I have a problem with that since he gave you, it's a false address.
Right, I crossed it off. We're not using it.
I just don't want to be caught up in nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If you get an address, then you'll contact us and you'll contact his office and let them know where you're staying. Okay?
Perfect.
All right. You are not to use, purchase, or possess any alcohol, illegal drugs, or marijuana. You are going to have some drugs. Yes. Yes.
I'm a chronic pain patient. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I have been through 16 surgeries. I'm a chronic pain patient, and I use medical marijuana.
Okay. Do you have a prescription for it, or you're just using? Okay. So I'll note in the file that you have a medical marijuana card. You will still have to go for testing.
No problem.
You'll be allowed to have your medical marijuana. But you have to use it within the confines of your prescription. Continuing with.
Right.
Okay. Oh, she said right. Okay. Yeah. So you're agreed. All right. Continuing on. So tomorrow you will have to go for your drug and alcohol. You're fine. Tomorrow you have to go for drug and alcohol testing. It's across the street from where we are, across the parking lot from where you are now. You have to bring photo ID and $12. If you don't have photo ID, you'll ask the jail to print your booking photos, and then you will take booking photos and the $12. You'll go to community corrections.
I don't have 12 bucks. I have 12 bucks. I have 12 bucks.
So you'll have to maybe talk to your friends who are going to come pick you up and ask for $12. You have to have the dollars. You have to go do the testing. If you don't go, you're going to end up with a warrant for your arrest. Continuing, you are not to purchase or possess any firearms, ammunition, or dangerous weapons. Do you own any firearms?
No.
Do you own any dangerous weapons?
No.
All right. You are not to assault, terrorize, frighten, intimidate, threaten, harass, molest, or stalk anyone. You are to have no contact with David Wallow. When I say no contact, hold on, put your hand down. When I say no contact, no direct or indirect contact with that individual, in person or through others. No telephone, email, texting, internet, social media, Skype, Zoom, FaceTime, Facebook. You can't direct other people to, hold on, put your hand down. You can't direct other people to be in touch with him on your behalf. You are not to go to 389 Devonshire in Ypsilanti Township, except on the civil standby. You can contact the local police department. They will meet you. You make an appointment. They will meet you there, and then you can get your belongings. That is not an opportunity for you to hang out at that address. That's not an opportunity for you to communicate with David. That's just an opportunity for you to get your things and move on. Do you understand those conditions?
Yes, however, I have a cat, and I may have to leave him there for a day or two until I can find a place for him, because I'm not going to be able to probably have, you know what I'm saying? I have a cat, just short notice. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, can I have Dave go down and feed my cat for a day? Or, because you'll have to contact him. He's got to be fed and watered. And if I can't get him today, he hasn't eaten for 2 days. That'll be 3 days.
Okay. So I am not going to contact David. And you can't contact David. If you need to go twice, once to make sure your cat is okay and to feed your cat, you can do that, but you'll have to have a civil standby with the police. And
That's
then
all I needed. That's all I needed. I'm worried about my baby, all right? He's 8 years old. He's my only baby, and I'm worried about him.
Okay, but you listen closely. You can't just go. You have to contact the local police department.
I understand.
Okay. So I will allow you 2 civil standbys, one to go check on the cat, and then a second civil standby to move your belongings. That has to happen within 3 days.
Oh, wait, whoa. Oh, my, you're kidding me. Goofy can't stay there for a few days? My cat.
I don't care how long your cat stays there. But I don't want you, listen, stop talking. Stop talking for a minute. There is a problem with you communicating with David. Right. I don't want you communicating with him. I don't want you at his house. I don't want you having contact with him.
I understand.
So the idea, stop talking, listen to me. So the idea is that you get your things and leave as soon as we can make that happen. If that can't happen today and it has to happen tomorrow, that's fine. If that can't happen tomorrow and it has to happen on Tuesday, that's fine too. But I'm not going to leave that as an open-ended thing.
You two. All I'm asking, someone's got to get a hold of Dave to let him know I'm not going to get my cat for a couple days.
And you can do that with the civil standby with the police. I just told you that.
I got you.
He doesn't have to keep your cat. If he doesn't want to keep your cat, he doesn't have to keep your cat.
But he will.
I have no idea what he's going to do. I have no idea what he's going to do, but let's move forward because you understand what you're entitled to do. And you have to understand what you can and cannot do, or else you're going to end up in custody again.
I'm just worried about my cat. He's very important to me. I don't have kids. I've always had furry four-legged children and furry bristled children. I had 3 Vietnamese popular pigs.
Okay, we're moving on. We're moving on. Okay, you're not to violate any criminal law. You're required to appear for all of your court hearings and other places as directed by the court. All of your conditions, they will exist whether you're in custody or out of custody. In addition to not going to the home that I've identified that address on Devonshire, in the event that that David moves, I don't want you going to his new house while your court orders are pending. I don't want you going to his place.
There's no chance of that.
Listen, if I'm talking, you can't be talking. We're trying to make a recording, okay? You can't go to David's home. You can't go to any place of employment. You can't go to any place of education. You can't go to any house of worship that he goes to, whether he's present or not. All of your conditions remain in full force and effect, whether you're in custody or out of custody. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
What questions, if any, do you have for me?
I need to have the ability for someone to get a hold of Dave to let him know what's going on with the cat. I know you think I'm an idiot, but it's very.
I don't think you're an idiot. I'm just trying to figure out how to make that happen because I am not going to call David.
Why can't I have my pal? Oh shoot, we have a mutual friend. How about that?
Who's that going to be?
It would be. I'm trying to think of his name. I don't know his name right offhand. I've got to go where he lives. I don't know his name offhand.
All right, so I will allow one bit of contact for a mutual friend to be in touch with David to advise him that you can't take the cat right now until you make better arrangements. Again, I can't guarantee what David's going to do with the cat, but I will allow you to do that.
Thank you.
Okay. Never had anyone clap at me before.
Listen,
do you have any questions for me?
I love my animals. I love my babies.
That's fine. Okay. Right. Anything further, Mr. Bellinger? Please
Nothing
say
further,
no.
thank you.
Okay, then Ms. C, you are all set. You can stand up and go to the door. We'll get your paperwork to you as soon as we can. Thank you.
I'm the hell out of here.
Your Honor, may I take 20 seconds, please?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So I got to write this condition. So defendant may have I like cats, third party.
All right, I'm composed. Thank you.
No problem. So I'm going to put defendant may have a third party discuss the care of Goofy the cat. I think that was the name, right?
Oh.
And I'm pretty sure Goofy's a dog.
Isn't
Goofy a dog? Yes. Okay.
I think that's
Goofy,
that is what she said. Yeah, that's right.
the cat.
Yep.
Goofy the cat's care.
I had no clue that was a false address. I don't support perjury.
Oh, see, Mr. Danner left just before the fun began.
Yeah, the real party started.
Okay. Deep breath. Pull it together. I'm just putting no address for her right now.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. And if I get something, I'll let you know. What else was I going to tell you? I don't know. That was a tough one for me. I didn't think to interrupt you either because I just thought that'd make things worse. So
you're fine. Homeschool work. Now people are going to think I don't like cats. I have cats.
I don't think people are thinking. I think you are more than accommodating.
David may not.
It was you. I'm so happy you were the judge.
All right, so then I have to put it in here. Defendant may I have a niece who's looking to adopt a cat locally. And so I get updates every time the the Humane Society has another kitty up for adoption. So like every day during spring, I get a bunch of messages and they have a picture of the cat. And this cat's great with little children.
I know of a cat right now that's not being fed on the regular.
Good. And yeah, so I get these cute messages with these cute pictures and I forward them to my niece. So if I see a cat named Goofy in the adoptions, I'll be just devastated. But hopefully David will take care of that. So.
Yes.
Four-legged children. Did she say three-legged children too?
I don't know. Maybe.
I didn't hear what that was. It's probably better than so scanner, what do I need to do?
I need to remember to update them. I have to change. Things are even feeling. No, why don't you sign it? I called down. I said, sign anything? They'll still pass out one trip.
Did you, Your Honor, may I ask, did you have a case number on that one yet? On Miss C?